Hey, I'm Patrick Faulkner. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will be discussing the Line 6 Helix and how I utilize it with a real tube amp and an impulse response. What is it? A reactive load box. So if that seems interesting to you, stick around. I will kind of explain it all. If you want, I'll just jump right in. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. So this first one I made, the first patch, let me show you the amp. It's a JTM 45. Pretty classic sounding. Not really like high gain or anything. I'm just trying to go for as authentic feeling and sounding as possible without using a real mic and speakers and so my signal chain, I'm using an MXR bass compressor. It's the same one as the guitar compressor, but a lot of people don't really realize that, and so they'll end up buying the guitar one and not realizing if they got a used bass one, it's exactly the same. So I got that one. I think I saved like 30 bucks doing that. Not a big deal. Guitar goes into the bass compressor. Bass compressor goes straight into the Helix. Then you can see the Helix wizardry I'm doing here. I got dual preamps. I've noticed that when you have two working together, you get a little bit more dynamics. You get a little bit more, just a little bit more realistic feeling. And then it goes through the effects loop, and the effects loop is just a regular instrument cable out into VHT Special 6, which I modified. So it's more like a British amp. I'll show you what that sounds like on its own. More like a Marshall, something like that. It's not, but it's more like one. I changed the preamp, so it's not really a Champ clone anymore. I changed the power section so it's able to run EL34 at about 7 to 10 watts. And then I added in a different tone stack, so it's more like one that you'd find in a Marshall. It doesn't have treble, middle, bass, and presence. It's not that far. It's just a bass treble. There's not a lot of space for that on the Special 6. And then I go into the 2 notes torpedo captor reactive load box, which is great load box. Since I already have an IR loader in the Helix, I didn't see the need to buy us another IR loader. So then once it all goes in, comes back into the Helix, I add a noise gate. It's very slight. It's very subtle. I'm not usually one to like over crank it. I just want it to be natural in the decay. So I usually just turn the threshold down, leave the decay where it is, and call it a day. My compressor, they're all going to be the same. It's the LA2A compressor by Teltronics, although Line 6 can't call it that, but that's what it is. It's the same one I use when I use my Apollo, my Universal Audio Apollo Twin. I use the same one there. I love that one. Then the IRs, I bought a bunch of these from Ownhammer. I think it was like 65 different speakers, and it's a pretty big collection. It ends up being somewhere around 700 IRs. Don't quote me on that, but it's a huge amount. He ends up making like 12 or 15 per speaker. They're a single 12, and again, I like doubling them up. I find there's a little bit extra dynamics, a little bit more realism. I use the same one because I want them to be identical. You don't have to. You could use different ones if you wanted to blend them. I just don't do that. And then I have a little bit of plate reverb just because spring reverb on a Marshall doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. The JCM 800, I believe, has a spring reverb. But so yeah, so that's kind of the basic setup I have. Let's just save this, make sure nothing got changed or lost. So let's go to the Helix amp for a minute. So right away, it's vastly different, right? I still have dual tool cabinets. No, I got a Royer R121 ribbon mic. And then I got a Shure SM57 on the other one. Other than that, they're vintage greenbacks. But the sensitivity, the dynamics of the amp, they just don't have that same kind of squish that I get. I have the same setup using a Helix amp and then the same IR cabinet I used for the amp. It's much closer. Much closer. But it's still not quite as good as this. And then just to give you a final kind of control, I put an EQ. It's a simple EQ. It's not very complicated. A little bit of cut at 665 hertz. Low end boost, I think that's going to be around like 300 or 400. Then the high end is probably around 250, 3000 K, 3K. I mean, the preamp, I think, adds a lot. Let me show you this one. This is a deluxe. So totally different. Everything's different about this. Anyways. I don't think it gets quite to that same point where it sounds exactly like an amp. You know, with a mic and a speaker and all that stuff. Like, I don't think it's quite there. But it's really close. You know, it's something in the pick. I don't know. Strange. Here's a high gain one. High gain telly. Saldano. It's pretty close. Pretty dang good. Let's go back to the first one, just so you can hear what that sounds like again, with some fresh ears. Here's the Helix amp with the Helix cab. I mean, the difference is pretty striking, right? So, I mean, that's a huge benefit to having IRs. If you want, you could just change them out. Try a different speaker. Try a different combination of speakers. You could mix them. Two different ones seems okay too. Here's the amp. It sounds pretty good. Let's turn the EQ off really quick. Kind of dull, really. Yeah, a little bit crunchy. Like I said, it's not really a champ sound anymore. Sounds a bit more Marshall-esque. So when I put a Marshall preamp into it, I feel like it does a really good job. Here's that deluxe again. Here's that Soldano one more time. I feel like that could use maybe a little bit more low end. Maybe a little bit of sag, a little less hum. Maybe. I feel like you gotta spend the time kind of dialing in your sounds. And it's totally worth it if you can. A Lynchback, huh? Sounds like a good 80s speaker. Feel like there's a little bit too much compression because the amp already kind of compresses itself a little bit. So I feel like there's a little bit too much compression. And then maybe a little bit more volume. Should get me close. Trying to get something that's a little bit more on the edge of breakup. something I can use like my pickup selector, my volume knob, and my tone knob. So, anyways, I hope that was cool. Just give me a little test drive. Cool. Right on. So my name is Patrick Faulkner. If you like this, stick around. There'll always be more. Check out some of my other videos. As you can always like and subscribe. Thanks.